Introduction to the Ancient Wisdom series in 3 parts. Part 1, Journey to Consciousness. Part 2, 7 Pillars of Ancient Wisdom and the Human Spiritual Kingdom. Part 3, Personality Integration and Introduction to Meditation. This is what you're watching now. This information is presented with the hope of inspiring those who are ready to explore what their real purpose of life is and how to live a more fulfilling, happier existence. These videos are for those eager and ready to enter or have entered the path of self-enforced evolution. They are designed to help you to understand your divine nature and your role in this great scheme of life. This knowledge is essential for most of us to prepare for and take our meditation efforts towards a meaningful goal, that of soul contact and beyond. However rudimentary I try to make this introduction, at times it is technical, and your understanding will be proportional to your previous studies of the subject. Are you ready to enter upon this journey? Much of this information came about by focusing on one word or one concept at a time, by comparing the digitized classics written by H.P. Blavatsky, C.W. Leadbeater, Annie Besant, Alice Bailey, Lucille Cederkrantz, and my teacher Douglas M. Baker, and many more. Then I tried to come up with the best way to reconciliate this information and present it here. I apologize to those teachers if I erred in any way. Further, it is my sincere hope to inspire somebody to present this information in a more professional fashion. Personality integration and introduction to meditation. You have seen this image if you watched part 1 and 2 of this presentation. It is a clairvoyance composite view of the average human aura, his physical, emotional, and mental bodies. This is the glamour and illusion we piled upon ourselves in this and previous incarnations. Not a pretty sight. For better or worse, this is what makes up your personality today and determines your immediate responses to the daily affairs of life. Your programming. Everybody, of course, looks different. First, we will focus on glamour, illusion, Maya, and the dweller, what it is and how to overcome and redeem it. Notice the soul star. And he says, I put down a portion of myself, but remain. With many people, the soul star is barely a pinpoint of light. When the link to the soul becomes strong and the hindrances are removed, it blazes forth like a small sun.
See to this part of yourself, O disciple, for it must become harmless as the dove before the door is opened. The Master Dwal Kul has said that the mysteries are revealed and initiate powers gained by changes in the vehicles and not by the accumulation of information about the mysteries, and that the liberation of the soul comes about when the matter of the vehicles is salvaged and not by the attaining of spiritual status as usually understood.
And here are the steps by which we can achieve this. 1. Construction of the central channel, or antakarana. 2. Purification of the vehicles, bodies. 3. Redemption of energies locked into accumulated thought forms, desirable and undesirable. 4. Increasing the quality of the causal body, the soul body, which requires material from below. And 5. certain changes in the energy flow and its mechanisms. This final and third part of the introduction to the ancient wisdom I call personality integration and introduction to meditation. It is the cornerstone to this series. But don't fool yourself into believing the first two parts were not as important. Viewing them hopefully gave you an understanding of what you are and your place within this divine scheme of human existence. This is a vital part to grasp in order to begin with your conscious approach to the soul and enforced evolution. Too many students attempting to meditate have no idea how and what they are trying to achieve. The focus of this video is pointing out the tools you need to enhance your personality and work towards soul contact. It is my sincere hope that it will help you to understand some of your past experiences, dreams, and visions. I divided personality integration and meditation into three parts. The first part is becoming receptive to the wisdom, personality integration and its goal, review of the human constitution, what are thought forms and thought energy, the Deva and elemental kingdom, and what is Glamour.
Many high-grade, idealistic people have gained already a measure of integration without knowing any of this. Evolution is inevitable.
In this third part, I will introduce you to the fact that thoughts, when directed with purpose and via the mental body, manipulate energy. Your transformation must start on the mental level. Here, the matter is the most fluid and easily manipulated. There, you are a creator, however haphazard and unconscious. Much of the illusion we build up around us in this and previous lives are misinterpreted ideas from the soul. We cannot transmute or redeem these without the direct help of the soul. He is in deep meditation until the personality looks inwards and upwards and rings the doorbell. Only then, when the personality is ready to consciously take up his divine heritage, will the soul be interested. Then he will take 10 steps for every one we take to bring this wonderful union about. Remember this: always approach the soul with love, humility, sincerity, appreciation, and honesty. There's an ancient way given to us to attract the attention of the soul. It is the soul mantra. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. I previously pointed out the soul star. It is the etheric symbol of his portion put down into matter. With this mantra clearly spoken and a pause between each line while focusing in the soul star, you acknowledge oneness with him and the fact that you are his design and consciousness. With this, you are asking for his direct involvement. Absolutely no spiritual work, study, or meditation should be undertaken until this has been done. Now the soul star becomes your tool for good and only for good. It will not respond to anything negative. In the next slide, I will show you how to use it to establish receptivity to higher guidance.
Becoming receptive to the wisdom. The purpose of this exercise is to invoke the soul and establish receptivity to his influence. The soul communicates mostly in symbols and abstract thought. This is why many masters were once poets. Here are the 4 steps. 1. Seat yourself comfortably and relax physically, emotionally, and mentally. 2. Sound the Om while focusing in the soul star 6 inches above your head. Visualize it. Now, while identifying as the conscious soul incarnate, sound the soul mantra. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. After the invocation has been said, the soul star will obey thought and move within the vehicles and the electromagnetic field. Energy follows thought. 3. Concentrate your attention in the soul star 6 inches above your head. If you cannot see it or sense it, visualize or imagine it as a small, brilliant sun. You will recognize its presence in time. 4. Mentally move the soul star diagonally forward to a position just in front of the eyes, then straight into the center of the head, the location of the pineal gland, and slowly straight upward to the position 6 inches above the head. Always do this triangulation 3 times. Move the soul star very slowly and deliberately in its upward motion, holding firmly in mind the idea of the soul's cooperation with the aspiring personality. You will find much more information on this in the Rainbow Bridge, Phase 1 and 2, by the 2 disciples. Also, download all list of references used from our website, douglasbaker.org.
Let us review what personality integration is. It is the creation of a balanced and unobstructed functioning of your physical, emotional, and mental faculties as one, controlled by you, the I, or thinker. The building of a determined character, creating coordinated living and staying power. Seeing the truth more clearly. The purifying and sensitizing of our bodies for the reception and manifestation of higher soul influences, also called spirituality. Becoming aware of our liability for the effect of our deeds, words, and thoughts on others.
How long will you tread the circling tracks of mind around your little self and petty things? A seer, a strong creator is within this transient earthly being, if he wills, can fit his act to a transcendent scheme.
You have options. Take the easy, slow, and winding road up the mountain face. This is how today's humanity is carried forward by slow evolution. Notice the wide swings between positive and negative experiences, happiness and sadness, pain and good health, anger and love. Good deeds and bad deeds, you get the idea. A lot of energy is expended without getting good mileage. This is why evolution is slow but steady. Karma is also created and lived out slowly. Or climb straight up the short but difficult path. When glamour and illusion becomes less, we become less emotional and more thinking. Your evolution is dramatically speeded up. You can accomplish in one life what would otherwise take 10. By you enforced evolution brings many other benefits with it. But here is something I must add. Animals do not incur karma because they are not self-conscious yet. Forced evolution by you will expand to your consciousness, and with that you become more liable. Good or bad karma is amplified, and resolution ensues faster. The results are you become a more balanced, happier person, become a better expression of your higher self, become more effective in service to others, and of course, lessen the negative, painful effects of glamour, illusion, maya, the dweller. And as mentioned and explained before, why should you care? If not to shorten the way home, then at least for your next 2 lives ahead as personality. See the movie What Dreams May Come, starring Robin Williams. Motive gives consciousness direction. Do you remember the movie The Matrix? In the beginning of the first movie, where Morpheus asks the hero, take the blue pill or the red pill. The blue one lets you forget everything and you wake up in your bed like nothing happened. Or take the red one and you find out how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Well, my friends, this is exactly the option you're facing now.
To hope for a true change of human life without a change of human nature is an irrational and unspiritual proposition.
Integration and beyond in steps. Step 1. Becoming a personality. Integration of the lower threefold forms so that they are functioning as a balanced personality. Step 2. Correct orientation of that functioning personality towards the world of spiritual values. Step 3. Higher integration of personality with the soul via 1. Study of the wisdom, 2. Service to others, and 3. Meditation. Redeeming the personality and integration. Well, how does it feel when the toddler becomes a child? The child becomes a teenager, and she in turn an adult. How did you feel? There are signposts on the way. Some were mentioned before, others are. Staying power, maturity, less emotional, less talkative, non-addictive, helpful. Why not from time to time volunteer to shovel your older neighbor's snow, or in the summertime cut his lawn? That is service to humanity. Other signs are non-attachment, and I mean here especially non-attachment to physical, material things. This does not exclude love. Of course, compassion comes with this. Balanced life, rising of Kundalini, sensing energies, electrolysis. What I mean by that is for about 6 months, coffee tasted like bitter water. Boiled or fried eggs had a very heavy metal flavor. Raw onions had almost no flavor, and the common element was, of course, sulfur. When the taste normalized, first came back the taste of eggs, then onion, and then last coffee. My teacher's explanation was, at the point of higher personality integration, stress is present and increased energies in the throat and head centers cause an electrical phenomenon, electrolysis, under the tongue. Light in the head. Many of you will not see it, but some will see an ever-growing light within the center of the head, what I pointed out as being the cave. Intuition would be a very important sign to look for, and I will explain that just a little later. Last would be continuity of consciousness. My teacher was fully conscious 24 hours a day for the last 45 years of his life. And what it means is that you put your body into bed and leave your vehicle and continue research in libraries or travel, teach in the astral, etc., etc.
Intuition is the synthetic understanding which is the prerogative of the soul, and it only becomes possible when the soul, on its own level, is reaching in two directions, towards the monad and towards the integrated and, perhaps even if only temporarily, coordinated and at one personality. It is the first indication of a deeply subjective unification which will find its consummation at the third initiation. Glamour, A World Problem by Alice A. Bailey.
The divine truth is greater than any religion or creed or scripture or idea or philosophy.
I told you that matter exists on every plane of vibration. In my first presentation, Journey into Consciousness, I mentioned that all matter is ensouled with elemental life. Even the smallest particle of matter is informed by spirit. We simply refer to them as elementals of the earth, water, air, and fire. All of our bodies are made of them. We have been given the power to control via will certain life forms called elementals and devas. There are many types. Elementals are the spirits of the elements, in their essential essence subhuman. They are on the path of involution, on the downward arc. They exist on all planes, and on the etheric plane they are well known as the brownies, gnomes, pixies, when more evolved. Devas, meaning shining ones, are monads on a parallel evolutionary path with us. While we must evolve divine consciousness, they are evolving intelligence. Christianity refers to them as angels. These are the builders of form, including our threefold bodies when guided by the soul. Thought elementals are directed by our will to take on forms in the mental and emotional planes. Their quality is revealed by its color, its vibration, its direction, and its purpose. The function of every thought form is threefold: to respond to vibration, to provide a body for an idea or concept, and to carry out a specific purpose. Repeated activation of astral and mental matter will condition it to respond more readily. We, not being conscious creators, haphazardly build these forms into our bodies and pollute our world we live in. Normal thought controls fire elementals. abstract thought controls solar devas. And here we see the thought form colored aura of a depressed person. Not a pretty sight.
These devas learned in a previous universe to work with the human monads to create man's outer forms. They were brought over by our solar logos to do just that. While they work in matter via active intelligence, they evolve. They built under the impulse of human monads the forms we know as the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms. As our soul evolved, the devas built our outer forms more and more under the influence of the soul. Consciousness is the evolution of being or identity. Matter is the evolution of intelligence or substance. By Alice Bailey.
Here's a chart that shows all life streams using this planet to evolve. Notice that we, the human kingdom, makes up only one of the 6 streams. At the bottom, all evolution starts when the mineral kingdom is established and continues beyond that of Dayan Chohan in this solar system or another. Much more information can be found in Alice Bailey's books and Devas and Man, a compilation of theosophical studies.
The Deva kingdom ranges from elemental spirits to archangels. Devas, unself-conscious monads. Some will enter the human kingdom ages hence. Elementals are nature spirits. Contact plane. Elementals, etheric and astral planes. Devas, mental plane. Just as we use the devas and elementals to gain knowledge, they in turn benefit from being controlled by us. We will be brought in contact with the angelic kingdom when the next world teacher appears. Now, the Deva kingdom is aiding us via inspiring poets, musicians, and other creative people, the Muses. Now, just a quick review of the human constitution. The average person is still very much influenced by the emotional body and all that he programmed onto it. Here is the physical body and its etheric double with the 7 major force centers. Then the emotional body and all we attach to it. Much of this is the source of our glamour. This is the web that protects you from prematurely looking into the astral plane. Then the mental body and the concretized thought forms that dictate your responses. Here resides illusion. Finally, the causal body the soul uses to facilitate reincarnation. Our habits and much of our personality are influenced by the baggage we piled upon the emotional and mental vehicles. Maya disturbs the energy household within the etheric body, and it's caused by the unresolved glamour and illusion when the aspirant begins to tread their probationary path. The dweller on the threshold is made up of this and more. This will be explained in more detail later. Please realize this. None of this is you. You are spirit having a human experience.
Thought forms and thought energy. The next few slides are all about the manipulation of energy via our words, thoughts, and feelings. Understanding of this subject is a must in order to benefit from the rest of this presentation. The knowledge of this subject is absolutely vital to aid you in affecting positive changes within and around your bodies of consciousness. Understanding the effect your words, thoughts, and feelings have on others, and the liability you create for yourself. Now we come to a few more details about thought forms. Western culture has given this important subject too little importance and, when overemphasized, its negative aspects. Eons ago, during Atlantean times, we had the knowledge to consciously control the elemental and deva kingdoms. Then, man was not ready for this power and greatly misused it. Hence, the hierarchy removed this knowledge from us and only recently began to slowly lift veil after veil that hides this knowledge from us in the West. So then, let me give you some basics on thought forms. Thought forms are elementals controlled by your thoughts and emotions. And your words and sounds have a profound effect on them. Unless they are directed, they are just drifting clouds. If vaguely directed, it looks like we are throwing up over each other. If focused via will and given emotional power, they can harm or help. You are liable for each word and thought, and you must account for them. Thought forms, unless focused, radiate in all directions and lose power, strength, and clarity proportionally with distance. They are infectious. Like attracts like and reinforces each other. They shoot out towards the target or hover around the maker and influence him. They leave a trail behind. If a powerful, negative, and directed thought form finds nothing of like quality at its target, it will return via its trail to its creator. This is the reason behind witches, when depicted, always having a cat or raven nearby to absorb the rebounding spell. This image, created by the highly trained clairvoyants Annie Besant and Charles Leadbeater, give us an approximation of the colors thought forms take on and their attributes. In reality, the colors are much more vivid and vibrant on the astral and mental planes. The lower part of the image shows the meaning of the observed colors. Examples are: the top left color block indicates high spirituality, and the lowest left color block, selfishness. And here are some observed examples of the shape and color a thought form can take. Here is vague selfish affection, high ambition, response to devotion, sustained anger, grasping selfish affection, murderous rage, and upon meeting a friend.
The words of the student also have a life of their own, are the cause of certain manifestations in time and space, and have an effect upon all other lives. Sound affects the substance of which all forms are made. It sets into motion or modifies the already established motion of substance. The vibratory impact of sound can result in the movement of substance, which is either constructive or destructive. When sound takes the form of a word, a decree has been made. That word or grouping of words will manifest in time and space. If students could observe the effects produced by the words sounded forth from almost any individual, they would be sorely shocked. The broken bodies, the sick emotions, the chaotic conditions which result from the words spoken by humanity are painful for the true clairvoyant to look upon. A word once spoken cannot be recalled. A chain of effects has been set into motion and will result in physical, plain manifestation. By Alice A. Bailey. A study of the two human eyes will soon reveal the presence of the optic nerves. These have occult significance. It has always been proposed by occultists that the human eyes have a two-way activity, the picking up and the transmitting of energies. Those from the outer world and the energy which we call light, and those from within, which stem from the subtle vehicles. The latter, the radiatory capacity of man, pour out through the eyes and are the basis of the ancient proposition of the evil eye. The optic nerves are the only part of the brain which is visible from the exterior. They are to be seen clearly through an ophthalmoscope. It is from this region of the eye that occult forces pour. In assessing these unseen and little-known emanations, a Dr. Oskar Brunner did valuable work some time ago. He showed that the written manuscripts, the great works of art and sculptured pieces, carry permanently with them the radiations of the human eyes which poured over them lovingly during their creation. Douglas M. Baker.
The eyes, windows of the soul. When focusing the eyes on the tip of the nose, a common praxis in meditation, the outpouring of the optic disc is brought to a point in front of the brow chakra. Mental focus and emotional quality, when guided by the power of visualization and imagination, imbues everything you touch. Intent determines the quality. Make your work count. The positive energy you direct are elementals of a high order. The outpouring of energies from even higher planes via the eyes is therefore only found in highly creative men, but in the meditational process and where focus of the eyes is achieved in certain ways, the outpouring can be considerable. You too bless your work. Why do paintings and writing with a soft pencil store thoughts and feelings? Because the minerals in paint and carbon in pencils have a crystalline structure. You are probably wondering why I put so much emphasis on dealing with glamour. The reason is this: if you do not lessen and then eliminate this affliction, nothing else I show you here will matter. It is that simple. We all know glamour in its more obvious form, like thinking how good looking or beautiful you are. But glamour has many more subtle faces, like doing something good for somebody else and thinking, how much good karma might this be, etc., etc. My fellow student, please read the book Glamour, A World Problem by Alice Bailey.
And let us now summarize what glamour is. Glamour is the concretion of thought forms by centuries of fear, habits, guilt, attitudes, and desires clinging to the astral, emotional body. Glamour is found when the mental illusion is intensified by desire. It is illusion on the astral plane. Emotional types easily create and respond to their individual glamour and world glamour because they are focused in the astral body. They are held prisoner within the cage they created. Glamour determines our habitual, emotional responses to the daily affairs of life, and too many times without good reason or any input by us, the I, the thinker. We walk in a constantly changing density of emotional energies, fogs and mists which hide, distort, and prevent us from seeing reality.
Now let us look at the types and causes of glamour. Materiality, desire and problems associated with having or not having money. Sentiment, emotional reactions to relationships, desire to love and to be loved. Devotion to groups, religions, political parties, teachers, individuals. Fear, the mass glamour of authority, rules, laws, or dictum. Fear manipulated via orthodox teachings such as religious dogmas, distorted devotion, hell, the Inquisition, military brainwashing, distorted idealism, patriotism, shoot first, ask later, political parties, sample a president ruling via fear, public and private schools, unquestioned rules of teachers, but even independence of all the above can be a glamour in itself. Don't exchange one orthodox glamour with that of another, like a spiritual teacher or being on the path of some truth. The glamour of the newly won freedom can be just as powerful.
Make the light of the soul much as a strong wind blows away a dense fog, or as the rays of the sun dry up and absorb the mist. Redeem your glamour.
Now let us look at the agenda for the second part of this video. Illusion, Maya and the Dweller. Summary of the Battleground. The Rainbow Bridge Method. Nature of the Soul Method. The Caregate Method. These three methods will describe the tools that you can use to eliminate Maya, illusion, and glamour. And now let us review what we know about illusion, the vice of intellectuals. Illusion is the hardening of thought forms by a century of self-glorification and false and idealized thinking. These forms cling to the mental body and influence every aspect of our mental responses. Most of us, the I or thinker, are slaves to these concretized thought forms as they, just like a dictator, write our script of life. As the brow center rules, and while glamour subsides, illusion usually appears in intellectual people. It readily makes us receptive to the mass illusion so rampant in the world today. It is this mass illusion spread by such as TV, newspaper, and the internet that most of us have virtually no defense against. In the worst case, it can produce mental insanity, but in its least produces fanatics. Illusion many times is a product of misinterpreted ideas from the soul level. Hence, its potency and the requirement of soul help to dispel it. Only intuition can dispel illusion.
The problem of illusion lies in the fact that it is a soul activity and the result of the mind aspect of all the souls in manifestation. It is the soul which is submerged in the illusion and the soul that fails to see with clarity until such time as it has learnt to pour the light of the soul through into the mind and the brain. Alice Bailey.
The illusion of self-importance is the most difficult to overcome. Maya involves the total personality. The deceptive power of Maya is caused by the meeting of forces of the personality's glamour and illusion, and the ancient energies of matter itself. These energies, inherent in planetary matter, were brought over as latent seeds from an earlier solar system. These become more active during advanced integration. An intense activity is produced in the etheric body. It influences the total forces flowing through the chakras and nadis. This upsets the energy household of the physical and etheric body, since it is prana and the fire of matter itself. This causes partial stoppage, weakening, or even reversal of energies in the chakras. This image shows the etheric body and the depleted emission of vitality globules and forces dwelling up through the chakras from a higher plane. The colored channels, or nadis, connecting the chakras show how these forces are distributed to keep the physical body alive. Devitalization of glamour and illusion on higher levels now will help to reduce the effect of Maya later. Only when an inner orientation towards the world of higher values takes place, these etheric forces come into conflict with a dense physical body, and the battle between the etheric forces and the dweller begins. The word Maya should only be used, 1, in reference to the united glamour illusion to which a person who is an integrated personality responds. 2, in speaking of the limitations of the planetary logos of our planet.
The problem of Maya is really the same as glamour, plus the intense activity produced when both the glamour and illusion are realized on etheric levels. It is that vital, unthinking, emotional mess, yes, brother of old, that is the word I seek to use, in which the majority of human beings seem always to live. The Master D.K. in Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 1, by Alice Bailey.
The reason I am showing this slide again is to briefly touch on the 7 principles of the human constitution. Some teachings count these from the top down, others from the etheric double up. Some even claim that a human has only 3 principles. The important point is that all agree that the physical body is not a principle. What is a principle? A principle is a germ of awareness carrying all the potentiality of full consciousness on some particular level of divine activity. It is the germ or seed on each subplane which embodies some aspect of the divine unfolding consciousness. This becomes important to consider later when we talk about the opposition the physical body presents as we are trying to raise the vibrations of our bodies.
Our physical body is not one of the 7 divine principles as put down by the Logos. It manifested as a reflection of our etheric body and is animated by a deva. Its polarity is oppositional to all that which is divine, higher in frequency than itself. This Devic life, clad in lowest matter of the physical plane, is only trying to survive the monad's action to redeem matter by raising it into the kingdom of heaven. It creates an opposition to change in our etheric, emotional, and mental bodies to maintain its status quo. This is contra to divine will, which induces change and evolution. This resistance at times is referred to as evil or dweller. It is also called the deva of appearance, and it must be confronted by the integrated personality and the soul prior to the third initiation. However, this part of us has its planned purpose now and a higher purpose later. Now, it gives us the outer form we are so familiar with, plus later, at a higher state of consciousness, it will be transformed to serve as our body of light. Know then that this knowledge alone will help to re-impress the dweller with a cooperative attitude rather than an oppositional one. It will take a long time. Start now.
I assembled this presentation with esoteric students and disciples in mind. This is the reason I included some information on the third initiation. For some of you, this is far off, perhaps even several more lifetimes. However, all of this information will aid in your journey ahead. Any advances you make now will benefit you during this life and shorten your way to your true home in the place of light. Let us now look at additional aspects of the dweller on the threshold. For the purpose here, the dweller is the embodied, quasi-human astral haunting parts cast off in your previous incarnations. It is also your portion of the planetary Logos' karma brought with him from a previous incarnation. These forms are still animated by bits of past life consciousness, consisting of unresolved illusion, glamour, maya, and evil. The dweller on the threshold is always present, but only becomes active on the path of discipleship. It is also the soul's karma. It is the bewildering thought form with which the disciple is confronted as he stands at the threshold of the third initiation. As you eliminate illusion, glamour, and maya, the soul's light will penetrate ever brighter into the lower bodies. Then the dweller on the threshold will slowly and surely disintegrate and leave your way to the door of initiation, free and unimpeded. Before suggesting 3 well-proven methods by which you can eliminate glamour, illusion, and maya, I have summarized much of what we learned in the previous slides. I named it Summary of the Battleground. It shows you the affliction, the plane it is on, its opposition, the objective, the battleground, and the technique used. You can download this chart from my website, douglasbaker.org.
By us, initiated development of spirituality and expansion of consciousness is the result of the scientific application of higher energies to our mental, emotional, and physical bodies with cooperation of the soul. When done via the Rainbow Bridge Technique 1 and 2, the bridge, or antakarana, is established between the personality and that higher consciousness overshadowing us, allowing the flow of soul force and spiritual qualities to manifest within the lower forms and consciousness. This done via soul-mind partnership will redeem illusion and glamour. The mind is the means whereby light can be brought to bear on all conditions of glamour. linking up the mind with the soul, and then focusing oneself consciously and with precision in the mind nature or mental body. In the process of dissipating glamour, the way of the greatest potency is to realize the necessity to act purely as a channel for the energy of the soul. Alice Bailey, DK, Glamour, a World Problem. Now we come to the 3 methods that Dita recommends you use to eliminate glamour and illusion and to enhance soul communication. The Rainbow Bridge method is the most scientific way to widen the link with the soul, clear the bodies, and redeem your consciousness trapped within those thought forms. The soul mantra and the spiritual vortex should be incorporated into whatever method you might settle on. Since the Rainbow Bridge book is out of print and only a few used ones are available on the web, it is suggested that you go to the website soul1.org by Dr. Ronald B. Tiggle. He has done a fantastic job in preserving this knowledge with this website. Dr. Tiggle also shows you an alternative method for clearing glamour and illusion. The Nature of the Soul method by Lucille Cederkrantz gives you 40 weekly lessons and abstract seed thoughts, meditation, and more. The book is extremely well written and really describes your relationship to the soul. Go to wisdomimpressions.com for more information. There you will find all her books and courses. The Caregate Method by Dita's teacher, Dr. Douglas M. Baker, emphasizes meditation, study of the classical teachings of the ancient wisdom, and service to humanity. As a foremost writer, yogi, and teacher of metaphysics and esoteric science, Dr. Baker toured most continents and gave thousands of lectures. As a foremost authority of esoteric astrology, he taught us soul communication via the use of symbols and astrological glyphs. You will find almost 500 audio lectures by him on the site douglasbaker.org. He wrote over 100 books on this subject, many of them translated into 8 European languages. All of those are available in ebook format at Google, Amazon, iTunes, and Barnes & Noble. Also, books describing good techniques are The Light of the Soul, Glamour, a World Problem by Alice Bailey, and The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. You will find this page and all references used on Dita's website, douglasbaker.org.
The Rainbow Bridge Method. This scientific, proven method of applying soul light, a word form, and clearing vortex to the bodies is based on directions given by Alice Bailey and the Master DK and developed by the 2 disciples, Norman and Josephine Stevens. I am deeply grateful to their technique and the documentation that follows. This method consists of 1. Building the Antakarana or rainbow bridge from the lower to the higher consciousness. This can be done in 8 weeks. 2. Via a safe word form and cooperation of the soul with the mind, redeeming the thought forms holding us prisoner. 3 and 4. Activation by these words and via the soul's vortex, disintegration of the thought form and liberation of the energies within it. Start a spiritual diary, practice visualization, and begin to study the use and meaning of symbols. Start meditating Study the classics and begin to identify with the soul. Begin to look inward and upward and listen to that yet small voice within. And here is the way phase 2 of the Rainbow Bridge method works.
1. Here is what many people look like to a clairvoyant. Now you invoke the cooperation of the soul. 2. The words spoken connect to the concretized thought form. 3. The thought form is activated to its original form. Don't worry, you will not see it. 4. Via the soul's action, the vortex dissolves these forms. 5. You, via visualization and the soul's action, the vortex moves the elementals into the ground below and releases them. 6. With a final blast, the energy and consciousness that created this form is redeemed and becomes yours. 7. Here, the aura and the bodies are partially cleared. 8. And this is a cleared aura and bodies. If done diligently, using all words of the word form, this process can take about 2 years. 9 and 10 show progress notes the Stevens kept on each of their students. Remember, energy follows thought.
The Nature of the Soul Method by Lucille Cederkrantz. This is a course of instruction in the wisdom designed to facilitate step-by-step unfoldment from individuality to group awareness, from unconscious activity to conscious service to the one life. The Nature of the Soul in 40 short lessons educates the student towards soul identification and overcoming the personality's problems of glamour and illusion. Rarely will you find the wisdom in such clearly written and inspiring form. And this is how it works. There is the spiritual soul and the personal soul, as Lucille Cederkrantz calls rightfully the personality. In this and previous lives, we piled these negative thought forms onto our bodies, glamour onto the emotional body, and illusion onto the mental body. Step 1. Lucille gives you one abstract word or sentence per week to meditate on while focusing upwards. Remember, the soul mostly communicates in symbols and abstract thoughts. 2. With the help of the soul, a realization occurs which in turn redeems or frees the energies within a related thought form. This, of course, is a very simple way to describe the method. Notice that it does not use the soul mantra or the vortex. I highly recommend you to incorporate these into this method. Dr. Douglas M. Baker emphasized meditation, study of the classical teachings of the ancient wisdom, and service to humanity. He taught us soul communications via the use of symbols and astrological glyphs, and a wealth of information about esoteric science, metaphysics, healing, esoteric astrology, and so much more. A brilliant teacher to us and a friend to me. Instead of going on, I prefer that you download his free audio lecture, The Caregate Method, from my website, douglasbaker.org. There you also find many other lectures and free documents, charts, and images. And now we come to the final part of this video. And it is all about meditation. Know thy prison. In order to escape a prison, you must know what's holding you. What is meditation? Soul identification, meditation versus prayer. Two types of meditation, first steps. The diary and symbols, and again, protection. Know thy prison before you can escape. As you identified with your forms, you became imprisoned within them. The primary hindrance to daily meditation is that we are caught up in the material necessities of the civilization we have built. It is our economy of time, energy, attention, and money. In the beginning, little progress is apparent. You become discouraged. When the Logos created matter and the soul created your forms, they were imbued with the purpose to persist. They will resist change. The same applies to the glamour and illusion you piled upon your form. Expect much opposition from this and your dweller. The dark forces will oppose you for attempting to raise matter and form towards spirit. You are interfering with their source of being. Little or no results due to the lack of sincerity, humility, right motive, and knowledge. The soul does not care about the needs of the petty personality. The soul does care what you will do for others and how you will free him from that old personality. The aspirant must be brutally honest with himself. He is the thinker, and his mind and emotions will constantly bring forward reasons to preserve their present existence. Via an act of will, overcome. That, my friends, is your major tool.
Introduction to meditation, what it is. Meditation is a technical process whereby soul contact is realized and soul infusion achieved. This technique establishes the conscious soul incarnate within the brain. 1. Know this. The totality of everything that is held in existence via the one meditation. There is no meditation outside that meditation. You only can join into that one meditation. Then you will have entered that one life and know yourself as such. 2. Meditation is that which is most natural to consciousness. 3. When early humans started to contemplate their existence, and when she received their first idea, meditation was successful. 4. Every idea or concept of truth you are able to grasp with your mind, to contemplate, to examine, and finally absorb and understand is of the soul. This is the process by which the soul takes up residence within the brain awareness. The soul of humanity is doing this right now, ready or not. 5. Attuning yourself to the rhythm of the soul and creation of the new personality. 6. The soul on its plane knows the future as well as the past. With our meditation and the soul's help, we seek to bring the desired end nearer and make it more rapidly a fact. Meditating for relaxation and stress reduction is like buying a first-class airplane ticket and circling the planet just to accumulate frequent flyer miles.
Soul identification, the story of the dog. What is more accurate? The tale of the dog saying, "I have a dog," or the dog saying, "I have a tail," or both saying, "All is one." The moral, as above, so below. What applies to the tail and the dog applies to you and the soul, applies to the soul and the monad, and applies to the monad and the logos, etc., etc., etc. Here I am briefly reminding you that the purpose of meditation is to identify yourself with all consciousness there is. Our goal is to remove the barrier we created that isolates us. The soul wants this, but he needs your help. It is the personality that must make the effort and desire soul contact. Higher guidance will come when you begin to think, what would the soul want me to do in this situation? Just listen via the soul's links in your heart and head, and you will never again walk alone. And when you say, "I am the soul," you acknowledge this oneness. Your journey is that of self-identification. As you expand your consciousness, you become more inclusive while identifying with an ever greater being.
Three Great Truths by Mabel Collins, the idol of the White Lotus. "Hear me, my brother," he said. "There are three truths which are absolute and which cannot be lost, but yet may remain silent for lack of speech. The soul of man is immortal, and its future is the future of a thing whose growth and splendor has no limit. The principle which gives life dwells in us and without us, is undying and eternally beneficent, is not heard or seen or smelt, but is perceived by the man who desires perception. Each man is his own absolute lawgiver, the dispenser of glory or gloom to himself, the decreer of his life, his reward, his punishment. These truths, which are as great as his life itself, are as simple as the simplest mind of man. Feed the hungry with them." Meditation versus prayer. Meditation is strictly a mental process. It is mental orientation with the goal to realize some truth and bring it down into concrete knowledge. It is the search for divine knowledge. The goal is illumination and escape from illusion. It is the science enabling us to directly experience the Logos, God. It leads to the rejection of form after form as self. It establishes a relationship between the soul and the personality until they become one. All consciousness that is self-conscious meditates. Prayer is the person's sincere desire and request for the acquisition of something for oneself or others, and the faith-based expectation of receiving such. Begging a hopefully listening deity to take away the troubles and intercede for others. It is asking, demanding, expecting. It is closely used with some form of worship. It is the heart approach and based on emotional desire. It is hope for revelation and illumination. Both meditation and prayer in its truest form seek communion with something higher. The two paths. The mystic devotee. Via driving love of his emotional nature seeks God. Prayer plus disciplined unselfishness produces the mystic. He senses divine realities, mystical vision, and revelation at the heights of aspiration. He longs for repetition of the ecstatic state that prayer, adoration, and worship gave him. He believes in a God who can give. The mystic is usually unable to repeat this high state at will. The alchemist, occultist, knower. The method of intellectual approach, the drive towards spiritual realities. All integrated personalities and all purely mental types are mystics at heart. They already passed through that stage in some life before. Subordination of the entire personality. Study, meditation plus organized, disciplined service produces the knower. The mystic believes in the divinity of himself and others. Via understanding and knowledge, the illuminated alchemist is able to enter the realm of the soul at will.
I like to make sure you do not misunderstand what I mean by alchemist. Here, the alchemist is one who takes something tarnished, corruptible, and base, and via the application of soul fire transmutes it into something shining, valuable, and non-corruptible. Let me now describe two types of meditation. The first one would be dynamic, with two purposes. A, the willful attraction, focus, and/or manipulation of forces and energies to improve the quality of your bodies so they become better tools for the expression of higher consciousness, like building the rainbow bridge, clearing the bodies, etc. B, to use your instrumentality as a channel for passing these forces and energies between their source and humanity. This we call breathing for others. Let this conscious act carry over in your daily activities to bless those around you. The second type I like to point out is contemplative meditation. This method uses the concrete mind, the mental body, and the higher abstract mind, you, the I, the thinker. Via these two, a seed thought is first squeezed out to gain the essence of its meaning. When the concrete mind runs out of material, the abstract mind then contemplates via sustained focus the possible meaning of the seed thought. Then the mind becomes relaxed but alert. This sooner or later will result in a fuller and fuller realization of some truth, and when that is broadcasted throughout your outer forms, clearing of some illusion or glamour is achieved, and consciousness is expanded. Always follow with the vortex. But caution, by entering this path, be aware of the very great responsibility, for you become a part of the bridge by which the soul of humanity shall incarnate into its form.
A clairvoyance observation: every time you invoke the soul with sincerity and humility, the following happens. I am the soul. The size of the soul star is consistently the 8-inch sphere. Each day it is different in color and luminosity. Some days it is white, as soft as a mist lit by a filtered beam in the forest. A brilliant, glowing sapphire blue. A pale butter yellow like milk glass. Dark, intense red that glows like molten lava. So intensely white in the center that I cannot bear to look at it directly, with sparks flying from it like a sparkler on the 4th of July. I am the light divine. The central channel flashes forth and intensifies. It becomes full of rainbow fire. I am love. A rose-pink downpour of energy from the heart of the soul star floods the central channel. I am will. A royal purple, brilliant clear red, a white or an indigo blue downpour enters and fills the central channel. Sometimes all of these energies are present or follow each other in sequence, and the order or sequence may vary. I am fixed design. The sensitive points along the central channel flash forth with intense radiation. These later are the points occupied by the psychic centers or chakras. Since the fixed design is the plan of the soul for the current incarnation, it is indicated by the energy components in the vehicles and their relative strengths. From The Rainbow Bridge, The Two Disciples, and the website Soul One.
These divine energies come from your higher triad and your soul. You are dealing here with spiritual fire. Fire nonetheless. I must caution you, never play with the soul star and never waste the soul's attention.
Example of initial meditation. Dynamic. This assumes you have done phase 1 of the Rainbow Bridge. Become physically relaxed and comfortable. Become emotionally calm and serene. Become mentally poised and alert. Key words: humility and sincerity. Focus in the center of the head, the cave, and draw the physical, emotional, and mental consciousness there. Now visualize the soul star 6 inches above your head. Invoke the soul. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Pause at least 5 seconds between each affirmation. Gently sound the Om, realizing these three aspects of you are now one unit ready to serve the soul. Visualize a line of light extending from the brow center back into the cave in the center of the head. Now visualize a line of light extending upward from the cave via the head center into the soul star. Realize that this is your link to the overshadowing spiritual soul. Return to the cave, maintain the lines of light, and gently sound the Om. Say or think, "Let there be light in my mind and selfless love in my heart." And let right action manifest within my physical body and its environment. Visualize white light from the overshadowing soul entering your head center and exiting your brow center, bathing your community in light and love. Use the will. Do this for 3 minutes and close with the Om. Contemplate the seed thought. All that I am, I dedicate to the soul. Do this for 5 minutes. While staying mentally alert, become receptive to the soul. Do this for 5 minutes, then close with a gentle Om.
This would be a good meditation to start with. But remember, this or any other meditation that you come up with should include 2 basic principles. 1, helping others and your environment. 2, make you a more noble expression of the soul and his plan for you. When you send positive energies to others, like for healing, do not be specific. Invoke the soul and only be the channel for good while saying, "May the highest and best for that person come about." Focus on that person, but leave it up to the soul to respond because you have no idea about the person's karma. Now we come to one of the most important tools you can use in your communications with the soul and the hierarchy, the spiritual diary. Here's a page of my diary from many years ago. After finishing phase 1 of the Rainbow Bridge, I asked if the central channel or Antakarana had the minimum of 2 inches diameters to proceed to phase 2. The Caregate Method would tell you to use astrological glyphs, but I knew that symbols and, at least for me, plain words work. Always write in soft lead pencil because the crystalline structure of the carbon will hold your thoughts and feelings. I placed my diary with that open page showing the question next to my bed. In a vision that morning, I received what I documented below the question. There are many symbols in the image I received. You must develop your own way and symbols you and your soul understand. Read more on this in Douglas M. Baker's books, audio lectures, and ebooks. When done with sincerity and the right purpose, the soul will answer via the means your mind can bring into the physical brain. The second page is a warning that I should not drink my tea with the artificial sweetener aspartame.
Where there is light, there is darkness. You've heard this before. There are rare circumstances in which you might find yourself negatively influenced and even bothered by negative forces opposing all that we know to be of good. First know this: an earnest student, disciple, will come under the protection of the Light Lodge. If absolutely required, call upon the Masters of Light. There are tools that can help you to protect yourself from this negative outside interference. Some of them are: invoke the soul via the soul mantra and fill your aura with white light. Use the spiritual vortex to dissolve everything negative within your aura and room. Certain mantras are very powerful when learned and spoken with feeling and force. Some of those are the Great Invocation, the Disciples' Unification Mantra, and this ancient protective mantra. As a soul, I work in light, and darkness cannot touch me. I take my stand within the light. I work, and from that point I never move. Of absolute importance is that you do not invite negative vibrations into your environment by watching horror movies, and never play with Ouija boards.
And here's a slide from my previous presentation on the 7 pillars of ancient wisdom and the human spiritual kingdom. I like to repeat here the part about protection and rules of engagement. They can only use directly or indirectly against you that which resonates to your physical, etheric, emotional, and mental energies, force, and substance. Remember, like attracts like. They use yours or others' weakness to corrupt judgment, instill confusion, discouragement, despair, anger, resentment, and cause accidents and death. And here we're talking about, of course, the dark forces. As your potential grows, so does their interest. This is the natural law of manifestation of pair of opposites. When that occurs, do recognize the signs, stay positive, focus on the cave, and invoke the soul. Visualize white light filling your aura and the soul's vortex of light. Remember, what they're doing is activating your concretized negative thought forms or emotions, illusion and glamour, via an additional similar dark force. Deal with it just as in the Rainbow Bridge method. This is your opportunity to redeem matter times 2, your own negative force and that which they're sending to you. If you are in bed, turn onto your side, cross arms and legs. That, to some extent, short circuits your aura. Never sleep in the sun.
Awake. Awake to dreams no more. From the unreal, lead me to the real. From darkness, lead me into light. From death, lead me to immortality. Purpose. Verily I say unto thee, let us be like a tree, with the roots firmly planted into the soil of our material responsibilities, and an upward-reaching trunk that supports an ever-widening, onward-growing crown, like the branches, stretching out toward the light from above. And then, my brothers and sisters, when the time has come, let us burst forth into a flowering glory, and our fruits ripen and benefit those who grow in our shadow, For that, beloved ones, is our purpose.
Whatever road you may take from here, know that each one is winding and mostly uphill, consisting of detours and many obstacles, distractions and traps. All roads from here are hidden from you, and to you there is no finish line in sight. Some roads will lead to the dark side, some into the light, while some are more painful or longer than others. In very few words, thought forms and concepts, I have planted markers for you to follow along the right-hand path towards the light. Know then, whether you let slow evolution carry you forward, or you seek to intervene in this process, these 3 presentations can shorten your journey home. Blessings upon you, my fellow travelers, and listen to that yet small voice within.